Welcome to week 9 of Mobile App Portfolio 1. We're going to continue from where we left off last week, which was building a portfolio website. However, this week we're going to kind of dive into a few more details. So as you can see here, this is kind of what we left off with. Now, my photo's not working, but that's the alt text coming through. So you can see that that's really helpful that we have our alt text being descriptive. And then we had a couple other pages, the About Me page and then the Projects page. And we can see for some reason all our images aren't working, and I must have moved my folder structure around or something because it's not referencing my photos correctly. It's in the images folder, and then my images are in there. For some reason, it's not liking it. So we'll fix that and figure that out. But that's where we're at. A couple housekeeping items before we move on into the coding for today. We're halfway through Sprint 2. So I know that we're making our portfolio websites. That's an individual project, and that's totally cool. But also we're trying to get a little bit of development and functionality done in our Sprint for our group project, which is going to be this 2-semester long thing combined into this massive cornerstone sort of final project that everyone can kind of be a part of. So we're halfway through Sprint 2. So I just wanted to do a friendly reminder. I'm going to give you guys time in class today to do a weekly stand-up. So you're going to be able to have a meeting with your team, whoever's here. And if not, you can make a meeting or plan a meeting with the people from your group who are here at another time that's better. But just 10 minutes, really quick questions. What have you done since last meeting? What are you currently working on or hoping to finish before the next meeting? And is there anything that's blocking you or causing, a bit of a roadblock for you to move forward before the sprint finishes? So we're halfway through Sprint 2. We should be getting some of those, preliminary features built now that we have our environment set up and those databases connected and stuff actually coming through. Some basic designs for those screens were already made in the last sprint, so we're kind of moving past that and adding functionality now. So I'll give you guys time a little bit later in class after I finish this section on building a website or building a portfolio, but just wanted to remind you guys about that so that you kind of continue to plan a meeting or some development time towards that during this week. Even though you guys are pretty busy, we'll set a bit of time aside in this class so you guys can continue to develop as well. So I'll give you a bit of time in class to allocate towards development for the actual app itself. The second announcement or housekeeping item is Project 1 is due next Wednesday, November 17th. So Project 1 is due. That is your portfolio website that we're currently working on in class with the lab. Now, I have posted the GitHub code here in class. I ask that you use the code for review, but please do not just copy what I've made and replace your information in the code, okay? So you can click here, view the code, it's public. You can just download the zip or whatever, or just look at the code online here in the index.html and use it for reference. By all means, I have no problem with that. Even download it and run it in your browser to see what it looks like. But please, please do not just copy and replace your information, because if I see it looks like this with a photo of you and your name on it, but you just took, whatever we made in class, I just want to see a bit of creativity there. I want to see that you're able to come up with something on your own and make a website, without someone holding your hand. You can kind of think creatively, think independently, and make it you, because this is your portfolio. It's going to show who you are as a developer. So don't make it somebody else or make it, just, get creative with it. Have fun. So yeah, that code is there. And the other thing I was going to talk about, this is some of the stuff we're going to talk about today. Resources for the portfolio site. So W3 Schools, I also have no problem with them if you use them as a reference for how to do certain things. They have great, amazing online web tutorials. You can do HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python, SQL. They have everything. And since we're learning HTML, you can get in here and see all of these categories. I know I talked about this last week, but just going to remind you guys again, if you wanted to add a paragraph to your page, say you want to have a description on one of your projects, and we go through here and we look at some of these examples and, we want, I don't know, you want some line breaks between your paragraph. So you want some empty space before you go into the second paragraph. This is a paragraph with line breaks, so they use the break HTML element. Now, I'm totally fine if you use this because W3 Schools is not going to give you an entire website template that you can just, copy paste your information into and just make it look like it's yours. They're just going to give you sort of this chunk of code that does one thing, and they're going to give you this little example piece of how to do something, and it shows you how to do it, and then you take it and you make it your own. So here I can see how the BR tag works, and if I type, no matter what I type in here, it'll break after that many characters. And if we want a couple breaks like this, and you start playing around with it, and then we have a p tag, and we have, a bunch more text after this. We run it, we can see, it gives us those breaks way in between the two paragraphs. I'm fine with W3 Schools because they're not going to give you all of, everything in one spot. You have to still learn it, work for it, and move on. So hopefully that's okay with everybody. Any questions about that? And then we can kind of move on to today's lesson. All good, thumbs up, feeling great? People ready to go with their Visual Studio Code and websites? Did anybody, oh, I heard a mic unmute. Oh, we got some thumbs up, sweet. Did anybody keep experimenting with some of the stuff that we covered last week? Anybody want to share some improvements they've made?
I just wanted to mention that I have the same issue as you, that my images aren't showing, but they were showing when we were doing the class last time.
Perfect. We'll fix that, and then we'll get into some of the new stuff. Sweet. Okay, so I'll end this recording here because that's just like housekeeping items, just very basic, whatever.